Hi guys and girls, how are you all doing today? Welcome to another episode of Car Chat. Let's talk Star Trek Discovery. If you're a Star Trek fan, odds are you probably caught the premiere of Star Trek Discovery last night, either on CBS or on CBS All Access. If you by chance didn't yet, I would go ahead and maybe turn this video off for now because I am going to be getting into a couple spoilers and I wouldn't want to ruin anything for anyone. Initial reaction from watching it last night. It's a thing. It happened. 12 years of Star Trek. First of all, and I posted this on Facebook, it's nice to have Star Trek back on TV, even if it was just for one night. It's nice to have it back because that's traditionally anyway been where Star Trek thrives, and so that was nice. It's just a nice feeling as a Star Trek fan. Gosh, there's so much to unpack, so I might ramble a little bit, and if that happens, I apologize in advance. But initially, after watching the episode, I'm sitting there just sort of trying to process everything and think about it. And my initial reaction was, I don't really understand why this needs to be a prequel. Everything that happened in the first episode didn't really feel like it needed to be set 10 years before the original series. You know, there's these loose little connections that they put in there, that Michael Burnham is Spock's adopted sister, which obviously we've never heard of before. And, you know, just these little things, like little sound effects, little blips that just kind of pop out suddenly from being from, you know, like the original series. But everything that happened plot-wise, I didn't really feel like it needed to be a prequel. I think it would have worked a lot better in general if this show was set, whatever, 10, 50 years after you know, Voyager, after Star Trek Nemesis, whatever, after Star Trek 2009. Because me and I know a lot of other Trek fans' main concern going into this, having watched the trailers and all the, you know, promotional material, was that it was another damn prequel. Look, I'm a Star Trek fan. I want to boldly go. I want to go forward, not backwards again. Did people forget about Enterprise? I mean, it's frustrating. And so the look of the show, the feel of the show, it all, and again, everything that had to do with the plot. I get that there's all the Klingon stuff in there, trying to do the unification thing and wanting peace and all that, which I did think was cool. But it just felt like if the writers had said, we're going to make a new race of, you know, not villains, but the sort of antagonists that were going to be part of Discovery, and they just set it in the future, man, I would have liked this so much better. I would have liked it so much more, because then it would have been like, okay, the show looks really different and it feels really different, but that's okay because it's in the future, and so things are different in the future. But now they've married themselves to the canon of being 10 years before the original series, and everything looks just nowhere near what it's supposed to look like. You know, we know what it's supposed to look like 10 years before Kirk and Spock, because the original series visited that time period, around there anyway, and it doesn't look anything like that. So a lot of the criticisms that I had prior to watching the actual episode have essentially stuck. From watching the trailer, I'm like, this is just, it doesn't look or feel like what I think that it should be looking like or feeling like. I think when The Next Generation came out, there was some of that same feeling of trying to get used to it, of trying to accept that it was a different cast and a different ship and a different look. But the reason that it worked and the reason that we were able to get used to it eventually is because it was set in the future, and we were able to... Oh, there's a guy next to me putting his groceries away. It was set in the future. It was boldly going forward once again. And so we could accept these things because The Next Generation wasn't married to anything from the past, in the same way that Discovery is going to be married to things in the past. And that's another thing that I wanted to address, is there was this rumor. The rumor mill was sort of speculating that maybe Discovery was not going to be in the actual Prime timeline. So far, that does not seem to be the case. It does seem to be set in the Prime timeline. Something could change, but so far, all indicators is that this is real Prime timeline Star Trek. So it's for me a little concerning. I'm just not sure what sort of direction things are going to go in. In terms of what happened on the actual episode, there's just so much to get to with this review, so I'm trying to hammer through it. But man, look, there was some good things. I thought that the Klingon stuff was done well. I really appreciated the fact that they let them speak in their native tongue the entire time, and that it was all subtitled. I thought that was really cool. So I'm not here bashing the entire show, saying that none of it worked, because some of it definitely did. That was cool. The visual effects, it looks good, but the whole thing felt just a little generic to me, with the design of the like the bridge and things like that. The exterior shots of the ships and stuff like that. The ships look great. The visual effects look really slick. It all has that sort of CBS slickness to it. But again, it just doesn't fit, and it just doesn't quite feel right to me, and I'm not going to say otherwise. That's just my gut feeling on it, The biggest issue that I had with this show is what Michael Burnham did towards the end of the show. She's got this whole Vulcan thing where she grew up on Vulcan, with Sarek being Spock's adopted sister. I just think it's kind of a lazy tie-in. But what she did at the end of the show, where she gave the captain of her ship the Vulcan neck pinch, man, from a Starfleet perspective, if you do something like that, you gotta know that you're going to be in deep shit. And and they had served together for 7 years, and it just seemed to come out of nowhere, and it just felt it felt like they're trying to manufacture drama, and they're breaking the Roddenberry rule, which was publicized and criticized a while back, and I just don't know if I'm going to be able to get behind it. That sort of thing traditionally in Star Trek is just not something that you really do. When a captain gives an order, you follow the order. And I know that it's been broken before, but the reasoning behind it was just because she felt like it was something that she had to do in order to save the ship. Too bad. You got to follow orders in Starfleet. The writing in general and the overall feel of the show in general just felt a little off to me, and just the show in general just felt a little off to me. And I'm going to stop rambling because I feel like I could go on about this for a half hour. But I'd love to know what you guys thought about the show. If you watched it last night, or if you watched it at any point, leave a comment down below. I would love to interact a little bit with some of you and chat about the premiere of Star Trek Discovery. Thank you very much for watching. Oh, real quick, because I know that this is a big issue, am I going to subscribe to CBS All Access? I feel like they hooked me just enough. They got me just enough to do it. Because we didn't even see Discovery. What kind of show is this where it's called Star Trek Discovery and you don't even see the damn ship on the first episode? So I'm curious to see what happens, in not in the sense of, hey, this was actually really good, I want to keep watching because of that, but sort of more like I feel like this might turn into a car crash. I kind of want to stand around and watch and see what happens. So, but unfortunately, I think maybe that they hooked me just a little bit. Did they hook you? Leave a comment down below. I'm really curious to see how some other Star Trek fans feel about the premiere and whether or not you guys are going to keep watching going forward. Okay, thank you for watching. I hope you're doing well, and I'll see you next time on Car Chat.